So, Will, should the Browns pass on a quarterback with the second pick of the draft?
Man.
Yeah, with the second pick, I definitely think they should. I mean, they should really focus on right now building that roster. And you don't want to just keep getting quarterbacks and it just not working out, and then your roster keeps having issues. I think right now you should be in a situation where you do get Travis Hunter or you do get Abdul Carter, and then you find a way, maybe you stay there at the 33rd pick in the second round and you find another quarterback, or you find a way to, trade back in, because there's enough where you can get a quarterback later on. But right now, I think it's really key to build that roster. And plus, too, if you do get Abdul Carter, I mean, you got that big contract with Myles Garrett. You don't know what's going to happen later on, so you already have your pass rusher for the future. So I think right now, man, you continue to build that roster. You find a quarterback later on, and I think that's the best thing that Cleveland should do.
I know you was looking at me, Rick, when I was looking at the highlights right there.
You had a sour look on your face.
It's not sour, it's damn, because he's out there with no gloves on, running routes, doing the things, dropping his hips, coming in and out of breaks. He ain't even wearing, look at that. He ain't got no gloves on. That normally you don't see that.
Yeah, athlete with an F. Athlete.
I don't even know. But the thing is I don't even know what to call him. It's just, he's like a LeBron James. It's like from nowhere. I've never seen this before type situation with him, though. Do you think Cleveland should draft a quarterback or go with either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter?
1,000% they should pass on taking a quarterback with the number 2 pick. The definition of insanity, we all know it, right? You keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like, they've done this enough times with quarterbacks. I'm just going to run down a quick list on you. Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, Brandon Weeden, Brady
Baker
Quinn.
was the right pick, man. They messed that up. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry, but they messed that up.
But there was also question marks about each and every one of those guys as to whether they should be taken where they were taken, right? And it didn't work out for whatever reason, right? And I feel like that's what we're talking about with these quarterbacks in this draft. Nobody's saying there's that Shedeur is a sure thing. People aren't even saying Cam Ward is a sure thing, right? And in the meantime, probably the biggest reason is that I saw the Browns 2 years ago go 11-6 and make the playoffs, playing 5 different quarterbacks. Why? Because their defense was elite.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity, whether it's Abdul or Travis, and we can have that debate in terms of what would be the smarter pick, but you have the ability to go get somebody elite to add to your strength. If you're going to build from a team that was as bad as they were last year, 3-14, I'm not looking at a quarterback in this draft that's suddenly going to transform my team. So why not go and use that on somebody that I know is going to be able to play for me for at least the next 5-7 years?
What should they do?
I mean, but how do you know? How do we actually know about a quarterback? How many great quarterbacks in the league?
You don't.
Like
you don't.
Mahomes, like nobody saw Mahomes doing what he's doing now.
Agreed.
You know, but I feel this. You have to take the chance. You have to go out there and give yourself a chance. And if you need a quarterback, I believe you keep swinging for the fences until you figure it out. Everybody doesn't always get it right. But the Cleveland Browns need a quarterback, and at the number 2 pick, you have how many draft picks do they have? I mean, 1,000 of them. I mean, yeah, you could probably find one later, but, like, if you have an opportunity to swing for Shadeur right there, why not take that opportunity?
Because you have more of a sure thing in either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter in terms of what they can do for your team. And you're right. It is a roll of the dice. But you can be, for where the Browns are right now and what they proved 2 years ago, is you can be good enough at the quarterback position to still be able to win. And I feel like, I mean, they're not without, they did trade for Kenny Pickett. I don't know what you guys feel about Kenny Pickett.
A guy.
But it's not like you don't, you literally don't have a quarterback.
You don't have a quarterback right now.
No, it's a guy with a jersey and a number in Kenny Pickett. And I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. Don't take a quarterback. You either take Travis Hunter or you take Abdul Carter. If you want to take Abdul Carter and you pair him up with Myles Garrett, now people got to pick and choose what side they're going to protect. Is it the left side, the right side? Can you move Abdul Carter all the way around? Hell, can you put them both on the same side at times in Jim Schwartz's defense? Or you take a Travis Hunter, who is a two-way go guy for you. He can play on the offensive side, the defensive side. So you pair him up offensively at times with Jared Judy and company, but predominantly defensively, You want to play a lot of man-to-man. You want to do some things on the back end where now you got Denzel Ward, one of the top lockdown corners in the National Football League. You got Newsome. You can move him inside predominantly and have him play on the nickel. And now you got a Travis Hunter. Across the board, you got 3 terrific corners because in this league, you have to have 3. 4, depending on the offenses that you go up against. There's no more back in the day where there could only be 1 corner to go with that 1 receiver. Teams got multiple receivers.
Your number 2 is getting $30 million.
Your number 2 is getting 30, and your number 3 is in the 20s. So you got to look at it from a defensive standpoint and be able to make the right choice and the right move. It's not a slight on Shedeur or Cam Ward for some reason. Cam Ward winds up slipping from the number 1 spot because Tennessee decides to do something different. It's not a slight on them at all. I just think when you look at where Cleveland is as a team, they're defensive-oriented. It shifts from Kevin Stefanski of the past where everything was built on offense, and the offense really since Baker Mayfield took them to the playoffs really is a clunker. It's just been clunking along where now you got this dominant defense. You get a few more pieces on that defensive side of the ball, and now you can
eventually wind up find a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, you can.
Eventually.
But you don't have to do it right now.
When last time did they settle in on a franchise quarterback, though?
Man, they ain't had a franchise quarterback since, like Brian Sight in 1970-something.
That's what I'm saying.
But right now, like, there has been a trend, like, the past 5 years where these teams are building up their rosters to the point where if they do scrap in their quarterback, now it's plug and play. Like, okay, you go back to 2020 when Jameis left, that was a good roster, but Jameis was throwing 30 picks to the other team. They bring in Tom Brady. Obviously, he's the GOAT, but he takes them, they go win a Super Bowl. Well, Kansas City, you had, with the Chiefs, you had Mahomes come in. That was a good roster there. He ended up doing well with them. You look at Minnesota right now, a really good roster where possibly they might get another quarterback. The 49ers, they kept changing quarterbacks, and they've been a good roster. So I think right now Cleveland should be in a situation where if they just build their roster, then, okay, now we can just focus on getting a quarterback.
And I think everybody's forgetting there's a quarterback that's out there that's available that was spotted in Cleveland the other day. And that is Kirk Cousins. Was spotted in Cleveland for whatever reason. Maybe he was just in Cleveland. I don't know people that go to Cleveland just to go to Cleveland.
I don't think nobody randomly goes to Cleveland.
I don't think so either. But Kirk Cousins was in Cleveland hanging out.
Except for Mo.
Mo, yeah.
Are you – so 2 years ago, I'll go back to it, they were 11-6.
Yes.
Right? Had 5 different quarterbacks. Joe Flacco was
Finished
probably their best, right? Those combined threw for 24 TDs and 23 interceptions.
Not good.
Are you telling me that Kirk Cousins couldn't do better than that?
No, he couldn't.
And that if you invest in your defense,
he could.
That you could end up, especially when you look at the division that they're in. Is Shedeur Sanders going to beat Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson? Are you going to win? Are you going to win games that way?
It's extremely tough for rookie quarterbacks. See, what happens is you're looking at these outliers. You're looking at these outliers in Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, I didn't know he was going to do what he did.
But see, you're looking at outliers. Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud. And you start in what Bo Nix was able to do. You start looking at that and you start saying to yourself, "Oh, we can get a rookie. Those circumstances ain't for everybody."
But that's the thing too. Check this out. When you get a rookie quarterback that ends up good. Like we see with Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, it puts you ahead of the curve now because you ain't got to pay him right now.
That's true.
You can go pay your other players, and you can be good for quite some time until you have to pay your quarterback.
That's what they sell you, but that's not true.
But that's what
those teams were in position to construct their roster where they can do that. Like, at least with Kirk Cousins, you're going to get 4,200 yards, you're going to get 25 TDs, you're going to get 10 picks. Like, that's what you're going to get. You know that for a fact based on what he has done. And that's what he did with Stefanski when he was in Minnesota. He had those exact same numbers. I was with him in Washington. He had those exact same numbers, and that's what he's going to do. Now, unfortunately, he's had the Achilles. He had the shoulder injury. He's been banged up the past couple of years. But you bring him in there, he's going to be professional. He's going to do his job, be calculated, and he's going to have those exact numbers where you can, all right, he's going to do this. I can do everything else around the roster. Again, to make them competitive.
Will, do you like Cleveland's thought process that they are right now, as we stand today, preferring Travis Hunter in this report over Abdul Carter?
I would prefer Abdul in this case because, again, we don't know. I think if Travis goes to Cleveland, he's going to play offense, and you don't know who's going to get him the ball. Like, that's a big deal, too, like, to have a good quarterback. Like, going back to this whole – someone asked me the other day about playing both ways because I did at Boston College. I was like, you know what made it easy for me to play both sides of the offense? I had Matt Ryan throwing the football.
I went to Boston College anyway.
Stop it. Hold on. Last time BC played USC.
Yeah, y'all bunny hopped us. Yes, that is true.
You hear that down now?
Yeah, y'all
Last
bunny.
time,
Y'all,
they were ranked, too.
yeah, y'all bunny hopped us. I was at the game in the rain. Trust me, I wasn't happy.
But you have to have someone to get you the football. Right there. Throw me the damn ball. See, there's a book right there that has nothing to do about throwing the damn ball. So I think I would pick Abdul Carter just because, too, with Myles Garrett, you know, you have the two guys on the edge and pass rusher. I pick a pass rusher over, even though I'm a DB, over a lockdown corner any single day. And you don't know what's going to happen with the future. You might not ever get a chance to find another dominant pass rusher. So I would pick Abdul in this case.
See, I got Travis Hunter again. I can use him in so many different ways on both sides of the ball. Because if I'm drafting him, I know I'm going to get a quarterback. I already know. I know the Kirk Cousins deal is in the workings. Whether we do it before the draft or after the draft, if I pass on a quarterback, there's strong indications that Kirk Cousins is the guy. If they pass on a quarterback, it's Kirk Cousins. They're not going no damn Kenny Pickett and Myles Garrett, you know, would have just a complete breakdown on that staff.
And that dude has had some shoulder issues. That could be something where they're like, we don't know.
What should they do, Rick?
Well, certainly for me, it's between Travis and Abdul, and I would lean toward Abdul. And it's simply, it has more to do with the position than anything else. I just think that Abdul can impact the game more as an edge rusher, as good as Travis may be. And I don't know, to Will's point, I think part of the attraction to Travis is that he could potentially play on both sides of the ball. Not to diminish anything that he can do as a DB, but I just think about all of the things, especially with Jim Schwartz. You give him Abdul Carter, and you give him Myles Garrett, and you let him dial up what he likes to do, that scares me, particularly in that division, and what the pressure that you potentially can put on guys like Joe Burrow and Lamar. That sells me a little bit more than Travis.
But see, when you think about
there's no pressure.
When you building a team, though, and you think about certain situations, you're talking about within that division.
Yeah,
I got to have somebody that's going to cover Metcalf, everything that Cincinnati has, everything that Pittsburgh, everything that Baltimore has. I got to have somebody that can cover down on those guys. Because if they don't get there...
But you're talking about multiple guys.
But if they don't get there, that's why I got to have...
But you're talking about... But you need more than one.
No, that's why I already got Denzel Ward. I got young Newsome. Newsome, who's going to be a free agent after this season. Now, all of a sudden, I got Travis Hunter. Those teams got 2 and 3 receivers. If Myles Garrett can't get there, or Abdul Carter can't get there, and the back end can't hold up, we in trouble.
So what do you think of their secondary right now?
It's okay. It's solid. Denzel Ward's the guy. He's the guy.
They had 4 picks.
No, but they don't throw at him like that, though. But they don't throw at him like that. He is one of, wouldn't you say, Will, he's probably one of the top 4 corners in the league right now?
Denzel Ward?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably outside of Surtain, he is definitely known, especially throughout the
as like the next guy or whatnot.
But like the surefire lockdown man-to-man corner, Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
And what do you think that Travis can be his first year?
Man, all he got to do, when you play corner, all I do is say, him right there with that number, I need you to follow him wherever he go. He is not to catch a ball.
I get that.
We're going to run our scheme. We're going to play man-to-man. He's not to catch a ball.
Right.
Period. No matter what. And Travis is going to certainly take that challenge on because that's who he is. I just like him at the position. And I also can use him on offense.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. He's too valuable.
You get 2 players for the price of 1.
Or a player and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, he's probably the best athlete in the draft.
There is something to be said, too, about where they are and that they're building. And if you look at, as they get better, who could have a bigger impact? Like, I'm thinking right now, Abdul Carter coming in could have potentially a bigger impact. But if I'm looking at the next 2-3 years and you get a quarterback in position and you're developing everything else, then it slides.
And you got to remember, too, Greg Newsome is on an expiring contract.
And he's playing nickel.
And he's going to slide him all the way to the inside. He's going to play the nickel and the dime.
But I will say, too, like, if you're not getting Shedeur or a quarterback, someone like that, the only other player that's going to have an impact like a quarterback from a fan perspective selling tickets is going to be Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. You know, you often don't convince me of a whole lot.
I don't need to convince you. You smart. Why should I have to convince you? Shedeur Sanders
taking me somewhere.
got good reviews from his pro day on Friday in Colorado. However, the draft odds have him slipping a little bit, just a little bit, to the New Orleans Saints. The Saints now are the favorite to set Shedeur up and take him with the 9th pick overall. Will, is this a good spot for Shedeur in New Orleans with all the issues that they have going on with this team right now?
Yeah, I mean, with Kellen Moore taking over, I think just based on his track record, what he did in Dallas, you know, the offense and with the Chargers, and then what he just did with Philly, like, he's known for pushing the ball down the field, and his style of play calling really fits what Shedeur likes to do, and that is push the ball down the field. So I think just going down there, and obviously he's going to be in a competition with all the quarterbacks that are there. They have 3 quarterbacks on the roster right now, I believe.
Yeah, they got Carr, Spencer, Rattler.
And is Jake Haener still there?
I don't know.
Yeah, so he's going to be in competition
Taysom
down there.
Hill.
Competition down there, and just based on what he likes to do, I think New Orleans would be a good situation for him, and he has dudes to throw to on the outside, you know, in terms of like Olave, like he's one of the guys he can get the ball to. So, and then Kamara, he came back, you know, not being healthy and not being productive. Like, he's been outstanding, and the defense has been legit. So I think New Orleans would actually be a great fit for him.
Yeah, they got Ben DiNucci and Jake Hunter, I think, or Jake Haener.
Yep,
Jake
Haener.
Yeah.
Ben DiNucci.
I've got a good left.
A real solid roster.
Got a good left tackle. The
DiNucci was
came
coaching, wasn't he?
I don't know, man.
He was. I think he was on the Panther staff, and then he got signed.
Oh, God. So much for that, Rick.
There are worse places for him to go. I don't know that.
Whether help me out.
How much is Kellen going to have as the head coach? How much time is he going to spend with the offensive, or is it going to be the offensive coordinator, Doug Nussmeier?
I would think Kellen would call it.
Okay.
Title is one thing, but I think he would call it. Just because that's how he got the job. I'm hiring you because you did good calling plays. I'm not hiring you to hand it off to somebody else.
See, like, this is the thing. New Orleans is good, but, like, you won't take them at number 2, but somebody will take them at 9. Like, this is.
They may move up, though.
I think it's a great situation.
But New Orleans at 9 may move up to get him because the Giants sitting at 3 may not pass on him. They may take him. So New Orleans would be out of luck if they sit and wait until 9.
Any opportunity you can go somewhere and possibly play that first year, it's a good situation because you're learning.
Oh, he gonna play
with experience. He's gonna play there. He's gonna play there, and then you got a solid vet right there, and Derek Carr, team player, somebody who you can learn from at the beginning until it's time for him to take over. This is a great situation.
They were trying to compete.
There's a number of situations that I think are great for him.
They were trying to compete. Derek's not trying to teach anybody. He's trying to compete.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's still trying to compete, but it's good to learn under him.
But no question. But this goes back to my point about Cleveland. Like, I think the Saints have a good roster. They have a roster that can compete, and they just been struggling at that quarterback position, where I think this is actually a good fit for Shedeur.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. I'm not sold because they are a little bit older, long on the tooth. Olave is coming back.
Right, they brought Brandon Cooks back, who's older.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is older. Olave coming off injuries. AK coming off of injuries.
Right.
Although he played a little bit last year, and at times you saw a little bit of what we saw several years ago with him at the running back position. I just think it's a tough rebuild. It's a tough rebuild. But look,
it's also Kellen Moore has been great as a OC.
Yeah, you don't know what he is as a head coach.
Yeah, like that's a whole different thing. I don't necessarily immediately assume that because a guy was a great offensive coordinator comes as the head coach that he's going to transform.
Yeah, I mean, he had three guys that were pretty talented at throwing the football in terms of Dak, Herbert, and you go to Hurts. So I hear your point in terms of like, yeah, he may call plays, but when you are a head coach and you go into a new environment, you're a CEO.
You got so much else.
And all of those quarterbacks were already
established, right?
Established dudes.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts had already gone to a Super Bowl, okay? Dak Prescott, although Kellen Moore coached him for an extended period of time, he was already, like, doing what he needed to do. And then Herbert was already the toast of the town before he even got there. He hasn't advanced, in my opinion, any of these guys to the next level. They were already made men. And we'll see what he's able to do in New Orleans. And maybe he's able to go in New Orleans and all of a sudden become Sean Payton 2.0. We'll see.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.